Hi there, everybody. I don't want to say nervous, but a little apprehensive about this video because for the first time in any of my videos so far, I'm not talking about anything really art-related. I'm not going to be talking about the speed paint. I'm not even watching the speed paint while I record this. I just wanted to get some things off of my chest, just kind of as a way of both sharing what I'm going through and also just kind of, I don't know. I'm not really sure what my intended goal with all this is. But regardless of that, I'm just gonna go into it. I don't have any notes. I don't have any bullet points. I'm just gonna talk for a little bit. I guess this counts as a rant, maybe. I'm not, feeling really negative or hostile. I know that's not the definition of a rant, but that's the, the associated kind of moods going towards it. But I'm just gonna be talking a whole lot. And as you can tell from, I imagine the description I'm going to put on this bad boy, I'm talking about self-esteem. So just as a heads up, the speed paint that we're seeing while I'm talking about this is going to be the new end slate for videos. I'm going to be using it just because I've never been happy with the old end slate. I've been meaning to make a new one, and also I want to start using ink for more like representation of myself on my channel, so I just kind of figured this was another fun way to bring her in, doing a fun little Will Smith pose, so you get to watch that while I talk about my brain and my brain issues, or at least a little bit of a minor thing when in regards to my brain issues. So, I don't know where to really start with this. I guess the easiest way to start, I suppose, is just kind of saying, hi, I've had a rough week, and it's not really been rough for any other reason than just, sometimes these things happen. I used to see a therapist for a little bit. It was not a very long-lived thing. Unfortunately, I wanted to see her more, but I got into a lot of fights with my parents about it, and now I'm no longer living with my parents, but I can no longer afford a therapist. So it's just kind of one of those things where it was very helpful while I got to see her, but it's not really something I can do anymore, at least for the time being. But one of the things I remember from my sessions with Sunny they were all just so beneficial, but I remember there was one point where she just looked me in the eyes and she goes, "You're very insightful, and I feel like you have the ability to understand what you're going through, but you're still trying to learn how to apply what you know into a comprehensible change." And honestly, I don't know a better way to kind of go into this than just saying, I have an easy time identifying, the things that are wrong in my life without having the slightest clue how to change them. And it's just kind of been one of those weeks where my brain has decided to kind of zone in on all the different things that have gone wrong in my life, all the different things that are currently going wrong, all the different ways I'm not doing anything to fix them, and it's just kind of led to this time period of not necessarily a bad time, but not a pleasant time. And I don't know quite where to start with it, so I guess I'm just gonna kind of go ahead and start by saying I have some I don't want to say very serious, that makes it sound like it's like a intense, like, doctor diagnosed thing. I have bad self-esteem. I've had bad self-esteem for as long as I can remember. Honestly, I can't remember a time where I wasn't self-conscious about myself in one way or another. And growing up, I went through a lot of bullying, a lot of not great people being not great in general, and because of it, I don't think highly of myself. And I guess I just kind of wanted to make this video to talk about, I don't know, the things I've noticed and why my brain thinks like that and how I've managed to cope with it, just as kind of a way of reaching out to anybody else who's going through self-esteem issues, as a way of saying, A, you're not alone, B, you're tubular and I love you, and C, if you ever want to talk about that, I am always all ears. I've been saying a lot. I guess it's a testament to the fact that I'm kind of nervous doing this. I've always kind of wanted to branch out from just talking about art stuff, but again, with the self-esteem issues, I don't have a high opinion of myself or my thoughts or my opinions, so I've never really been comfortable sharing that, just because it's like, oh, people like you for your art, and they only barely like you for your art. If you step outside of that, everybody's gonna hate you. But I'm doing it anyways, so if you don't like it, that is a-okay. I'd say please let me know, but maybe don't, maybe put it nicely. It's fine, this is great. So yeah, one of the main things I just struggle with a lot is I don't, what was the way I phrased it? I undervalue myself. I was talking to Lindsay about this earlier. While I was doing the speed paint, actually, I kept pausing it to text her, which put me in a much better mood, so I'm a lot less likely to burst into tears while talking about all this, which is great. But I undervalue myself. I undervalue my opinions and my worth. I will permanently undersell myself. I will never, like, interject if I have an opinion different from somebody else, unless it's something that applies to someone who isn't me. So, like, I will defend my friends to the death, but you can literally say anything and everything terrible about me that you could ever come up with, and I will 100% agree with you, and I will carry it to my grave, just because ever since I can remember, I was kind of raised, I don't want to say raised, because it wasn't, I was raised in a culture, how about that one? I was raised in a culture that was constantly telling me that I wasn't enough. I went to a very strict Christian school from preschool to 2nd grade, and then I started homeschooling, and ask me at a different date what my opinions on homeschooling were. I'm currently stuck, like, halfway sandwiched between the pros and the cons. It definitely had its both positive and negative impacts on me, but one of the very, very high negative impacts of it was just a lot of the homeschool kids that I knew were very elitist. There was very much this atmosphere of we're better than them and they're garbage and we're the cool kids and they're never gonna understand what it's like to be us, and, you know, just very much this pedestal that, the kids essentially placed themselves on. And it kind of put me very much in this position where I was never sure whether or not I was supposed to think I was, the bee's knees, or I was the dirt the bee's knees were rubbing on. And because of it, I just had a very hard time figuring out what I was supposed to think of myself. It very much felt like you were supposed to feel like you were both, and I never knew how to balance that. And I think a lot of the reason this came to culmination lately was because just yesterday, well, I guess 2 days ago, of the day this video will go up, I went to go see a theater performance from a drama troupe that I grew up in. I joined this drama troupe when I was 11 years old, and I did it until the year I graduated high school. It was where I became myself. I learned to pretend I was confident even if I didn't feel confident. I learned how to act in front of others even when I didn't feel confident in it. And I also had an opportunity to kind of explore my love for art. I learned how to build sets and do stage makeup and act, and it was just an all-around blast. It meant a ton to me, and normally alumni will come back and help with different things like directing or helping out the students or, doing set design and stuff. I came back the year before to do set design, but to this day, I'm not sure if I wasn't wanted back or if that was all in my head, but I didn't feel like I was wanted back, and so because of that, I just didn't come back. And I don't know, going to see this performance, it was wonderful and beautiful because there was these kids that I had seen grown up, and suddenly they were, they were the big kids in a sense. They were the big kids I always looked up to. They were the same age as the kids that I used to idolize when I first joined the troupe, but they were so small, and it was this weird little vertigo of not knowing how to handle the fact that I'm old. And then just seeing how good they did. I've mentioned a couple times now that I did sets. That was kind of my main passion. That was what I loved more than anything in the drama troupe, was building sets. And my last year there as an alumni, I taught a couple other kids how to build sets, just kind of as a way of, bringing the younger kids into it, making sure when I eventually couldn't do sets anymore, there was going to be somebody to carry on that mantle. And they did so wonderful. I told everybody who asked about it the second the curtains opened and you saw the set for the first time. I just started bawling because I was so proud of these kids. They did wonderful, and it was kind of, and this ties into the self-esteem thing. I realize now I've gone on a little bit of a tangent about this theater production, but it was, the reason it all comes together is because there was this combination of feeling like I did this, I taught these kids, and then also going, oh, they never needed you. They did all this on their own, you were holding them back, kind of thing. And I think that kind of carried me through a lot of the night, and it ended 1 in the morning at a McDonald's. It was a tradition to go to the McDonald's after the final performance was over and just kind of party and have ice cream and laugh and cry. And I was kind of sitting on my own because I, wasn't old enough to sit with the adults, and I wasn't in the troupe, so I wasn't going to go bother the kids. And so I was just kind of sitting at my own booth. I had a notebook out, I was sketching, and one of these kids looks over and asks me if I want to sit with them. And I, of course, my brain immediately goes, they're asking you because, they feel guilty, they're kind of pitying you, they don't really want you to sit with them, you're just going to be a burden. So I'm like, oh no, it's fine. And I go back to sketching, and it hits me like half an hour later. I'm like, imagine you're that kid. They're younger than you. If you would have saw, one of the big kids when you were their age sitting alone at a booth and invited them and they straight up said, no, I'm good, you would have immediately blamed yourself. You would have felt like it was all your fault. And it, made me feel like, oh gosh, I've probably hurt this poor kid's feelings. But then B just kind of put me in this realization that it's like, no matter how old I get, no matter where I get in my life, if I don't get to the root of why I feel the way I do about myself, I'm never going to feel like I belong. And it just kind of woke me up to that, because for the longest time I always felt like once I reached a certain age, once I reached a certain amount of success, I was going to start feeling better about myself. And it wasn't until I put myself in another person's shoes and realized, oh no, if I would have been, their age, this would have been the success I was working towards. It's very much this kind of idea where if you try to convince yourself that growth is just going to occur to you at some point, you might end up getting trapped in that circle forever. And I don't want to say that, definitively. Maybe that works for some people. But it's just, it kind of occurred to me that it's like, unless I stop and focus on why I feel the way I do, which I already do, but then put that energy towards trying to break myself out of that thought process, I'm not going to be able to get to a point where I feel comfortable with my life. And it just kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure where to go from that realization, but I don't know, I guess I felt the need to talk about that in today's video, mostly because it's been consuming all of my thoughts, and also I just kind of felt like maybe somebody might have been through this and know, what works for them, or maybe, somebody is going through this and just kind of needs to hear that they're not alone in that. So I don't have answers yet. I might never have answers. I might not realize I have the answers till I've been using them for 3 years. That tends to be my way. But I just kind of wanted to, talk about that while you guys get to watch me create a new end slate. I don't have a really clean way of finishing this off. There was more I wanted to talk about, but I'm realizing now that it kind of would make its own video. It doesn't quite tie hand in hand, so I guess I'm just gonna leave it off at that. So let me know if you like this, and I've got more things to ramble on about. And if not, it'll just stay in my brain, or kind of vomited out at Lindsay over text, so we'll see. But regardless, I don't have a nice, crisp, clean way of finishing this off, so I don't want to do the regular ending, because I don't know. I guess I just want to kind of end this by qualifying. I do my little, end at the end of every video, hoping you guys will have a great day, eat great food, make great art. And I do just kind of want to state that even though it's something, kind of repetitive, practiced that I say at the end of every video, I mean it genuinely 100%. I don't know many of you. Only like 3 or 4 people have messaged me from, YouTube, which, just as a heads up, you are 100% welcome to do. Every time I get to talk to somebody about art in any way, form, or shape, it makes my year, my life, it makes me feel like I'm doing something right, and it's always so wonderful to get to talk to you guys and share ideas with you. But even if I never speak to you, you deserve to have a good day, even if you don't feel like you do. You deserve to eat good food. You deserve to make great art, even if other people don't think it's great art, even if you maybe don't feel like it's great art. You deserve to have that power and that joy in your life. I can't believe that I deserve it yet. But in the meantime, I'm going to believe that you deserve it, because I know you deserve it. And hopefully someday I'll be able to extend that, that kind of love towards myself. But in the meantime, I'm just going to chuck it all at you guys and hope for the best. So I guess thank you for listening to little old me ramble a bit. I hope maybe it was helpful or at least a little bit cohesive. And if not, I hope you enjoyed the speed paint. But in the meantime, I love you guys so, so much. And I hope you have a great day. I hope you eat some awesome food. And I hope you make some great art. I love you. Bye-bye.